Everyone.
Good evening.
I'd like to welcome you all to the April 10th, 2025 special meeting public work session of the Portrait City School Board. I now call this meeting to order. Ask that please stand down for a brief moment of silence. While remaining standing, I ask if Board Member Ms. Arnett McSwain will lead us in Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. Agenda item 2.4 is a mission statement. Ms. McSwain.
The mission of the Portsmouth Public School Division is to engage in all students in learning that will foster academic excellence and responsible citizenship.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 2.5 is attendance. Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson.
Here.
Mrs. Boone.
Here.
Ms. McSwain.
Present?
Ms. Sessions.
Here.
Ms. Shoemake.
Here.
Dr. Walker.
Here.
Dr. Patillo.
Present.
7 members present.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 2.6 is approval of the agenda for April 10th, 2025. I entertain a motion at this time.
Move for approval. Second.
Motion made by Ms. Boone, second by Ms. Shoemake. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson.
Yes.
Mrs. Boone.
Yes.
Ms. McSwain.
Yes.
Mrs. Sessions.
Yes.
Ms. Shoemake.
Yes.
Dr. Walker.
Yes.
Dr. Patillo.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you so much. I will ask now if our vice chair will lead us into closed meeting at this time.
I move that the board enter into a closed meeting under provisions of Section 2.23711 of the Code of Virginia for the following purpose: consideration of a student disciplinary matter is permitted under subsection A.2.
We have a second by Ms. Boone. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson.
Yes.
Mrs. Boone.
Yes.
Ms. McSwain.
Yes.
Mrs. Sessions.
Yes.
Ms. Shoemake.
Yes.
Dr. Walker.
Yes.
Dr. Patillo.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thanks so much. We're in the closed meeting.
I feel like everybody did leave early today.
Yes.
Vice Chair?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well.
So everybody was a yes?
Yes, and the motion was
ma'am.
seconded by Ms. Boone to bring
Okay.
us back in.
625.
All right. Thank you all for your patience. We'll continue with agenda item 3.2, consideration of expulsion for discipline case 2024-25/02. The recommendation is for expulsion. I entertain a motion at this time.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Boone, second by Vice Chair Atkinson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Mrs. McSwain?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessom?
Yes.
Ms. Shoemake?
Yes.
Dr. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. Patillo?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 3.3 is discussion, annual special education plan and Part B flow-through for the 25-26 school year. Ms. Battle Hardy, thank you so much for your patience and being with us
Oh,
tonight.
you're welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman Patillo, Vice Chair Atkinson, Dr. Bracy, and esteemed members of the school board. Good evening, yes. It is a pleasure for me to stand before you to present the 25-26 Special Education Plan on behalf of the Office of Special Education and Related Services. This plan outlines an agreement between Portsmouth Public Schools and the Virginia Department of Education for the delivery of special education and related services for students with disabilities. It is essential to underscore that all federal funding allocated through this plan is directly invested in supporting students with disabilities, ensuring they receive the resources and services that they need to succeed. On Tuesday, March 18, 2025, the Portsmouth Special Education Advisory Committee, known as SEAC, convened to thoroughly review and endorse the plan, ensuring full compliance with the guidelines set by the Virginia Department of Education. As we continue to work collaboratively to provide the best educational opportunities for our students with disabilities, I am reminded of a powerful African proverb that perfectly aligns with our mission, which says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And tonight, I am joined by just a few of our board members who wholeheartedly support this plan. Together, we respectfully seek your approval to move forward with the next step in this process. We have Chairwoman, Ms. Shirley Edwards. We have Dr. Sonia Daniels. We have Mrs. Gloria Burns. We have Mrs. Jeanette Akajobi. We have Mrs. Tamika Blackman-Wynn. And we also have your wonderful representative from the school board, Mrs. Jacqueline Walker. Each of you have received, Each of you have received a copy of the annual plan along with the summary sheets for grants 611 and 619. Please note that this plan does not include the interagency agreement with the Hampton Roads Regional Jail, as this agreement actually officially closed last year due to the closure of the Hampton Roads Jail. I would like to outline the key funding provisions. Grant 611 provides funding for school-age students, grades K through 12, in the amount of $3,995,691. Grant 619 provides the preschoolers with disabilities in the amount of $192,442. As we highlight in the summary, the majority of the grant is really focused towards salaries and benefits. The next largest portion is really contracts. We also provide staff development, instructional materials, and supplies. Now, this plan is not just a set of numbers or documents. It represents our steadfast commitment to developing or delivering an inclusive, supportive, and high-quality education to all of our students, particularly students with disabilities, who deserve every opportunity to thrive and succeed. The plan must be submitted into Omega by May 9th, 2025. The SEAC committee and I respectfully request your approval and support. I do want to thank you all as I stand here from last year, and we asked about our inclusive playground. I think I said a vision, I really wanted just identify 3 schools, but somehow you all made it happen with the support of the board, Dr. Bracy, Mr. Fawkes, and definitely Dr. Simmons, that all of our elementary schools now have inclusive playground equipment. So from my heart to yours, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to yield 2 minutes of my time so that I can allow Mrs. Edwards, our chair, to come forth.
Excuse me. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As she was telling you that I am Shirley Edwards and I am the chair. And we are here to affirm, we showed up to affirm that we signed the papers that we needed to do as the SEAC committee. And I'm not sure whether you're familiar with the SEAC, but we do great work. So we came here to talk to you just a minute about some of the things we do. Some of the people are here and some are not, but of the members. But what you need to know is that we are in our schools. We go to the schools, we review some of the practices that they do. We try to talk to the parents. We try to work with resources. And since we've been in our office, what we have done is that we've had 2 community fairs. I don't know whether you know about them. Some of the other things that we've done is that we have, sometimes I'm getting nervous, I don't know why, because I know most of the people here. And so we've had some events in the school with our resource person, Mrs. Mitchell, and she's not here today. So we are just quite happy. Now, what I want to do is that I want to thank Dr. Bracy and Mr. Breeze, Dr. DeBreeze, for coming to meet with us, because up until that time, we really didn't seem to kind of have a direction. But your time coming to meet with us, helping us to kind of see the things that we needed to do, and the fact that you allowed us and we requested from you a person which we could interact with, and you did give us that person. Now, I think her name is Miss Futrell. She's not here with us, but she worked with us for a while. We now have Dr. Walker. And we plan to develop relationships. And we also want you to know it is about relationships. So today, while I'm standing with the board here and with our consultant here, and of course, I call her doctor, but Mrs. Pamela Hardy, is that we are going to be submitting, which is one of our things that we have to do and we're responsible to do. We will be submitting our report. And we're asking that to go to Dr. Walker. And through that report, we will be some of the concerns that we have. We also want to increase the amount of participation by parents. As you know, we have a lot of activities that are going on in our center, but many times we do not have parents. So that is something that we're working on strongly. And it is important that if we to grow the increase parent participation, we have to not only do it with our children with disabilities, we have to do it with all our parents. So that's what I'm here for. So I thank you for your attention. And while I'm a little nervous, I also want to thank Dr. White, because you did meet with me. And because one of my schools is New Direction, I had some concerns. And so I do believe in going to talk to the person that I need to talk to. And sometimes I can be a bit intense, but it is important because we have children who will go into the world and we think they make a difference. So again, we thank you for allowing Mrs. Hardy to do what she does so well, which we can hardly keep up with her. So you all know that, don't you? But anyway, we hope that this is also Autism Awareness Month, for which we celebrate. And so I am here as the chair, and I plan to do the best job that I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only thing I can say at this time is thank you. Oh, do you have any questions? I'm sorry.
Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Ballard, a great job as always. I was wondering, we generally get those beautiful autism pins, and for the past 2 years, we have not received them. And I've been waiting to get another one because I can't find my other one. So, can you make that happen?
I will make sure that we can get you some autism pins.
You know, it's the big one. It
Yes,
was
ma'am,
a
with the
real
red,
nice
the
looking
red,
one.
the blue, and the green, yes. So I will make sure, I will have to consult with Dr. DeBreeze and Mr. Fultz to look at the local portion
Right.
of our budget to get those pins. Because what happens, believe it or not, the state kind of looks down on what every little thing that we purchase.
Right.
Last year, we wanted to do gingerbread houses for some of our elementary school students to talk about measurement and
Right.
weight. Do you know they wanted to know how many cans of frosting, how many gumdrops? And I was like, really? But yes, I will make sure that you get your autism
Thank you. I
pins.
listen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Are there any other questions?
So, to Ms. Edwards too, so I'm glad to be a part of the committee with 22 years of special education experience, but I do want you to know that the last school board meeting I did give out the CIAT report, and I shouted you out. I gave the dates in which the CIAT committee meets. So I'm gonna make sure, and I also talked about how we talked about in that meeting about doing those robocalls and how we can make that happen. So I did my job. You told me to do. So I just want you to know. If you go back and watch the meeting, you'll believe it. But I did my job.
She did.
She did. Yes,
I missed the part. The inclusive playground equipment?
Yes.
Is that at
all elementary schools?
all elementary.
Yes, ma'am, and preschools. Yes,
Looks
ma'am.
nice.
And the colors are based on the school colors. Because at one point I said, look, I'm not going to get choice about colors. Just give me the equipment. But somehow they made it happen. So if the school's colors are black and orange, the playground equipment is black and orange. Now, I am working with Dr. Simmons on, I believe you have not because you asked not, but on some AAC communication devices. Those are the augmentative communication devices or communications. And when you go to a playground and for a child who is nonverbal, if they want to go to the slide, they just point to the picture slide. So we have purchased some vinyl cardboards and we place them on the fences, but somehow, I don't know, maybe the neighborhood children messed them up or they got displaced or whatever, but we are working on replacing those for all of our elementary schools.
So do the children the nonverbal children, do they bring their equipment to school?
Yes, we provide that.
And you take it to the park? Okay.
Right, but the park is like a wooden, the inclusive park is modeled on the one that's on Military Highway. I'm not quite sure if you're familiar with that one. But it's like a board.
Yeah.
A wooden board, right. And then they just kind of point or to request what slide they want. They may say, I want to go, they point to the word go. But those are skills that they work on within the classroom, so that's not the first time them seeing those communication boards.
Do all of the kids who are nonverbal have their personal devices?
Yes, they do.
Good. That's really good.
And I did want to say, Ms. Battle Hardy, you need to talk to your colleagues. You know what to do when you want to ask for stuff. You know, you do it in a sneaky way. So, you know, I did talk to Dr. Simmons about this.
Dr. Simmons looking like we just had this conversation.
Last year she said, I want to have at least 3 playgrounds. I said, we asked for all of them. We do all of them. But thank you again for your dedication and what you do for our children every single day. Thank you to the CIAT community, which you all do, you don't get paid for, and you all do out of the kindness of your hearts and your passion you have for our students. And Miss Edwards, she's retired with a ton of years in New York. I know you, Miss Edwards. Your experience in New York State, working with SPED. So thank you for agreeing to work with our kids here in Virginia and Portsmouth. We really appreciate that. So thank you all again.
Thank you, Chair. I just have one more question real quick. How many speech therapists we have on staff again?
So right now, some of our speech pathologists are contracted. Okay. So are you talking about the PPS or contracted?
PPS and contracted.
So with speech pathologists, we have a total of 16. And out of the 16, 6 are contracted. Oh. So here's the thing, since we're talking about contracted services. So in order for us to you got to make it inviting, because when it comes to related services, if we're just paying them, for example, like $58 an hour, they can go to a vendor and make almost double the amount. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter for me the cause. I know that a child has to have those services in order to offer a free, appropriate education. I think I came before you all last year, and I talked about our private transportation. A week, and Mr. Foss can attest to this. Weekly, I am spending probably about $15,000 transporting students to different schools. We have our private schools that may range from Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and Chesapeake, and sometimes our buses are not able to transport them. But guess what? At the end of the day, I am tasked to make sure that every child receives those services, so that we have the contract out with vendors to make sure that we get them to and fro. Now, we have asked parents in the past, because some parents want to transport their own child, and so if that's the case, we try to reimburse them, but then I got my hand slapped by BDOE and said technically it should be the responsibility of the child. So I'm an advocate for you, and if I'm wrong, I'm gonna be wrong. But that's some of the causes that we have to look as well. And then when you look at some of our instructional assistants, some of them may make $16, $15, and honestly, they can go to McDonald's, they can go to Burger King, and make a little bit more with less stress. So the staff that we have, they are dedicated staff. They've been here not just because of the money, because they love children. And I always tell people, this is my 34th year here in Portsmouth. I didn't go jumping in other locality because I feel that it was a calling for me. So our veteran teachers that are here, they truly love Portsmouth. They love our children. So if there's any magic wand, and I know it's some things that we can't, when I say we, I'm talking about Portsmouth Public Schools and the school board, that we can't control, but really look at what we're doing with our staff as far as their daily rate. Because we have some excellent IAs who are not really being compensated for their work.
Okay, question for you. The ratio, what is the ratio? I went to visit schools this week.
Okay.
And we had self-contained and you had
Conclusion?
yes, in the same class.
Okay.
You had one teacher and two assistants with her. What is the ratio?
So the ratio by the state is that you can have up to 10 kids in a self-contained class, okay? However, each child's number is based on their IEP goals and hours. So say I have a class of 10 kids, and say if your hours are 15 hours and more, you're counted as 2 points. If you're 14 and less, that's considered as resource. So if I had a class of 10 and all of them are resource, guess what? That's only 10 points. Or if I had 10 kids and their points are 2 points, that is 20. And then based on your disability, your points may be greater than the other with or without a disability. So there's a formula that the state has provided. So some of our kids may be worth 2.5 points, some may be worth 3.5 points.
Okay.
So each year, and I try to do it in around October, is to look at the weights to make sure that they're evenly proportioned and not to overstaff a class. Because think about it, if you have 10 kids with severe problems, you want to make sure you have more than 2 staff in that class, because if one is doing toileting, the other one is left by themselves. So some of our classes they actually have a teacher and 2 IAs. And our inclusion class is usually that sped teacher and or the IA, and they kind of switch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Did I make that clear for you?
You did.
Okay.
And you confirmed what I had already researched.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
You know, we have history.
Yes.
And so I appreciate you on so many levels. But everything that you just stated, from the dedication of our teachers, the longevity of our teachers who are here, I've been in various classes over the years. It is not an easy setting. You guys do some hard work. I just want to say I appreciate you. I've said this before. I'm going to keep saying it. I also want to point out the fact that you stated that BDOE is very particular, which means that they audit what we do, which means that we are utilizing our funding to a T because we have someone to yield to, pretty much. And I'm saying it like this because some people are very ignorant as to how we need to utilize our funds and how specific it is that and how we are to use those funds that we are provided from the state as well as the federal government. So the fact that you went into detail to state that, hey, VDOE slapped me on my hand, which means that they are paying attention to everything that you do down to the funding.
Yes.
So I just wanted to reiterate that, and I appreciate you saying that because that means that you're doing the work times a million, and I appreciate you.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, I do have an awesome team behind me.
I
An
appreciate all
excellent
of you.
department. I do. And they hold me accountable, and guess what? I hold them accountable as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 3.4 is agenda review for April 24th, 2025. The agenda is uploaded in your board docs. Any additions or subtractions from the agenda can be made just by calling myself, Dr. Bracy, and we can take care of that for you. Agenda item 3.5 is an update on the proposed budget for 25-26. Mr. Falk.
Good evening. Good evening. Vice Chair Atkinson, board members, Dr. Bracy. We wanted to bring you a budget update for FY 25-26, particularly on the revenue, as well as the revenue picture, as well as kind of where we are right now with city funding. I kind of went over this at the last board meeting, but I wanted to make sure that we had a graphical depiction of this so that you could kind of see it with your own eyes and we could discuss as needed. They did. So just to give you a recap of this year's funding from the city, they provided us with $75,642,160 as their local share. They also had a contingency for the state raises that was in. At the time, the budget wasn't done, and we didn't know if we were going to get that funding or not. So we had a total contribution from the city this year of $78,746,746. So now let's go to the proposed 25-26 local funding. When we put our budget together, we started with that $78.7 million number. The council took that out when they did their proposal, so they took the $3.1 million out, and they then increased the city funding by $5.7 million, which gave us a total of $81,378,325. So that's what's in their proposed budget at this time. So now, so just to give you a snapshot, our original funding ask from them when we did our budget back in February, and what we passed a couple of weeks ago, was $9,375,033. We have to add back that $3.1 million that they took out in their contingency. So that gave us a new funding request with that inclusion of that of $12.5 million. When you back out the 5.7 that they increased in city local funding, that revised our additional funding request at this point to $6,743,454. So just wanted to give you a snapshot and a visual depiction of that, how those numbers work together and where we are right now in our funding situation at the local level.
So we just asking for 6.7 now.
No, 6.7 is what we're still short. Yeah, so if you just to look at it again, so they've already increased, by their standards, they increased it by 5.7, but they took away the 3.1 contingency, which means they really only gave us an additional $2 million and some change. That's why we're still short 6. That would total of 9. If you look at that. Anyone have any questions?
So we've already sent that in to request.
We've had that conversation.
We've already,
And
okay.
Mr. Falk and I had a meeting this morning with the city manager and the city CFO, basically to discuss this, because we never assumed, but we never had any conversations about the contingency not being included for the proposed budget that the city dropped.
Right.
Of course, we always know it's a possibility because the state did give us the money, but there was never any communications to say that, hey, now that the state is giving you money, we've now reverted and pulled ours out. So we didn't know that, or we would have included that in our initial ask.
Gotcha.
All right. And just to be clear, as we stated at our last meeting, that we are committed to ensuring that we meet the needs of the compensation study for our staff. We're committed to that. So not just for teachers, but for the entire staff. And that's a board commitment. So being that we're committed to that, and we believe in standing on our word, we have to make necessary cuts if we don't get the funding that's needed to meet that request. So, but our goal for this year was to meet that compensation study request to ensure that all of our staff put on the appropriate step. Because staff retention is an issue with us, and also staff recruitment. And by meeting those compensation study needs, we feel like we can get staff to stay and also recruit more qualified staff as well. So, and you know, our state budget is still not solid right now. So our budget number could be less than what we have now, depending on what that final state projection is going to be. So it could be a greater need than that. So but that's where we are right now.
Could we get a copy of that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
We're dropping into
Dr.
the,
Bracy, in the meeting that you had, did you discuss any potential cuts with the city manager?
No, I didn't. Well, I did say that once the budget is actually finalized, I mentioned that to him earlier before the meeting today, that we would have to come together to look at what we would have to cut in our existing budget to be able to make sure that we are including the compensation piece, because we're doing it not just for teachers, as Dr. Patillo said, but for all staff. So once we get the final number, we'll know what we're working with. You know, as we spoke with them today, you know, we're looking at our current budget that we're in this fiscal year, and just trying to look ahead to see is there anything that we can do to try to help offset this number. But it'll probably be personnel, as we talked about, because that's where that's where most of the money is. So we will have to look at that, but we still have some time before that, but we're still looking at the budget each day to try to figure out what will happen.
And those cuts will be discussed with his team first, and then they will bring them to the school board before we state them to the city manager and anybody else. Okay.
Our next meeting with the city manager is going to be the 30th of this month, but we'll have a board meeting before then. So we're still working, crunching numbers ourselves to see what would be something we would have to maybe put on the chopping block if needed.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Agenda item 3.6, VSBA policies. Dr. White, do you have anything you want to address with those?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Right. Again, good evening, School Board Chair Dr. Patillo, Vice Chair Atkinson, School Board members, and Dr. Bracy. Tonight, we actually have 25 updates from the VSBA policies for discussion. We're not going to discuss them all.
I'm going to say good.
Real quick. But over the past month, Ms. Futrell, Ms. Sessoms, and I have reviewed all proposed 25 policy changes, and of these, 23 of them only involve minor changes, is to it, her, to they, just those things like that. So we respectfully ask that you review these policies in preparation for the vote in our next board meeting. Now, this leaves us with two remaining policies. Policy LBD, the home instruction policy. This policy, we're going to table this policy for now as we continue to gather more information, because since our last policy committee meeting, We received correspondence from a Miss Patricia Baer, the Director of Government Relations with the Home Educators Association of Virginia, and she identified several discrepancies between the proposed policy and the existing House bill legislation. So to ensure alignment with the state law, we will revisit this policy after further review and conversations with our VSBA Policy Director, Leslie Rigney, and our School Board Attorney, Mr. Carroll. And then finally, our policy regulation BBBBR, our student representative, we made some adjustments to that. Now, the only major change that we made to this regulation was we increased the GPA requirement for the students from a 2.5 to a 3.0. And we also revised the language slightly just to improve clarity and readability. And then no other changes were made to that regulation. Any questions?
So we'll be voting at our next meeting on all policies with the exception of LBD.
Yes.
Next meeting, okay. So make sure you all review those, and they're always going to be highlighted in red, the changes that are made when you look at those for the next meeting.
Yes, the blue is the changes, the red is the deletions.
Right.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. White, any new guidance on homeschool participating in any other activities other than JROTC?
No.
They still haven't said it.
No, that bill failed in General Assembly.
Okay. I did.
The Tebow bill, yeah, it failed. Any other questions? Thank you so much, sir, and then thank you, Policy Committee, as well, for that. All right, agenda item 3.7, subcommittee reports. I have one for technology, but I'll make sure you all get it in your email to not prolong the time. It's pretty long.
Yeah, I'll wait till next.
Any other committee reports?
I just make a highlight that tomorrow is the History Bowl. That's from Curriculum and Instruction, and it's at 10:30 at Manor Little Theater. And then also tomorrow, they are the snacking pack for the Title I schools. It's going to be at J.E. Parker, where parents can come and get snack packs for the spring break, and that's from 5:30 to 6:30 at J.E. Parker. But everything else I can say because it won't be past the day.
Right, now, I heard that the History Bowl has a special guest, incredibly handsome host.
I heard too. It's our chair.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other reports?
Oh, and just to give a shout out to them for World Language Day, Ms. Sessoms and Ms. McSwain and I all participated. We had a great time with the little babies, and I thought it was a great idea where they had all 3 pre-K centers being taught by all 3 high schools in Spanish, French, and Latin. So it was a great turnout. It was a great event.
Yeah, we couldn't remember them.
Kudos to Dr. Williams and her staff for doing that as well. Anything else? All right, if all of our hearts and minds are clear, the meeting is now dismissed. Adjourned.